You walk into Aldi expecting budget value, a quick trip for essentials. But what if what you're about to buy isn't quite what you think? What if behind the bright price tags and bargain branding lies a supermarket experience you should really question? Because when things go wrong, it isn't just about convenience or cost. It's about whether the food you buy is safe. And when it comes to Aldi, we have a story worth looking at more closely. Let's begin with one of the most alarming incidents in recent memory. In November 2024, Aldi UK pleaded guilty to a food hygiene offence following an investigation at its Leighton branch in East London. Inspectors from the Waltham Forest Council found widespread mouse droppings across food packaging and display areas, including in the bread and milk section. The offence led to a fine of £64,000 plus legal costs of £241,177 at Snaresbrook Crown Court. The court heard that a customer had complained after discovering droppings in a partially unwrapped Easter egg. This is not a minor slip-up, not a forgotten shelf. This is rodents among food packaging, in areas where bread and milk are on sale, in 2020 and only resolved years later in court. It raises the question, if this was allowed to happen once, could it be happening elsewhere? Could your bargain groceries be paying for corners cut? You might say, but that was one store 4 years ago. Fair enough, but the pattern matters. While some outlets of Aldi score highly in hygiene ratings, you must ask, how consistent is that across the chain? In fact, according to an analysis of UK food hygiene data for H1 2024, Aldi reported an impressive 99.1% of its stores achieved a pass rating. That sounds reassuring. But here's the catch. Pass covers the baseline standard. It does not guarantee exemplary hygiene across every store, nor does it guarantee zero incidents of poor produce quality or improper stock management. It only shows compliance at a snapshot in time. Next, let's address produce and perishables, because this is where many supermarket chains falter without dramatic headlines. At Aldi, you may get great value. But for some shoppers, value has come with a hidden cost. Reports and complaints have circulated online of produce spoiling much faster than expected. Shoppers say fruits and vegetables arriving moldy, slimy, or decaying within a day or two. While wide-scale data is sparser than for hygiene inspections, the anecdotal pattern is strong enough to merit scrutiny. Combine the produce deterioration with the hygiene breach example, and you begin to see a wider picture. Cost-cutting, high volume, rapid turnover, and perhaps weaker controls in some outlets. It is not to say Aldi is always unsafe. Far from it. But it means you need to shop with your eyes open. Here are the key concerns you should rarely ignore at Aldi. First, pest control. The Leighton case shows the chain can fail badly on pest management. Mouse droppings in open milk and bread areas is more than messy. It is a serious hazard. Second, produce freshness and shelf life. If vegetables go slimy or decayed very quickly, that implies issues with stock rotation, storage temperature, packing dates, or simply overextended supply chains. Third, transparency and customer expectation. When you walk in expecting fresh groceries at a low price, you also expect freshness. If the product says fresh, yet spoils too fast, then you're paying for something inferior under the guise of value. Fourth, inflation of cost savings by cutting corners. Discount stores succeed by offering lower prices than traditional supermarkets. But saving money must never mean drastically lowering the quality or safety of what you buy. The fine line between cheap and cheapened food is crossed when standards slip. Now you might ask, should you never shop at Aldi again? That's not the point of this video. The point is to wake up to what you should check when you do. Because trust once broken takes a long time to rebuild, and for many consumers, the bargain convenience of Aldi might still outweigh the risk. But only if you know the warning signs. Here are some practical tips before you shop at Aldi or any discount store. Check hygiene ratings online for your local store. Even a chain with a high average still has weaker outliers. Inspect produce carefully. Look for expiry dates, best before dates, condition of packaging, signs of spoilage. Avoid too good to be true prices on heavily perishable items if you suspect the turnover might be slow. Consider buying perishables from stores that emphasize freshness and slower supply. Save discount stores for non-perishables if in doubt. Report problems when you find them. The chain needs to know which stores are falling short. But those tips only scratch the surface of what you need to know, because the deeper you dig into Aldi's recent history, the more unsettling the pattern becomes. Take contamination alerts. Aldi has faced several recalls in recent years that paint a troubling picture of how vulnerable discount supply chains can be. In one high-profile incident in Ireland, food safety authorities issued a "do not eat this product" warning after Listeria monocytogenes was detected in Aldi coleslaw. Listeria isn't a minor bacteria. It can cause severe illness, hospitalization, and even death, particularly in pregnant women and elderly shoppers. Health officials urge customers to return the product immediately, stressing the seriousness of the contamination. This wasn't a theoretical risk. It was a direct threat that slipped through quality controls, and it wasn't the only scare. Aldi, along with Morrison's and Lidl, had to recall tinned products after a dangerous contamination alert involving potentially hazardous foreign materials. When multiple supermarket chains are caught in the same contamination wave, it hints at a wider supply issue, the sort of issue that spreads quickly when supply chains are driven by cost efficiency over robust oversight. Then there are the bakery recalls. Aldi pulled a popular bakery item from shelves after discovering it posed a health hazard due to ingredient issues. Shoppers were told to discard the product immediately or return it for a full refund. Recalls like these reveal where bargains come from. Industrial-scale operations where one slip can affect thousands of customers before anyone detects the problem. But perhaps the most revealing insights come not from official recalls or inspectors, but from Aldi's own workers. Multiple employees have anonymously reported severe understaffing at certain branches. And understaffing in a food environment doesn't just mean slower service. It means produce sitting unrefrigerated for hours. It means freezer doors left open while staff rush between tasks. It means raw chicken sitting at unsafe temperatures in back rooms because there aren't enough employees to process deliveries quickly. One worker described summer shifts where milk sat in the heat of the stockroom for 45 minutes before anyone had time to move it into refrigeration. One employee admitted that internal concerns raised to managers often went nowhere because efficiency targets were prioritized over hygiene routines. Cleaning was rushed. Spillages were left longer. Forgotten produce sat at the back of fridges until it decayed. Then there are the customer reports. The stories that don't make official headlines but spread like wildfire across social media. Shoppers posting videos of blueberries covered in mold inside sealed packaging just hours after purchase. Parents complaining about milk going sour 2 days before its use-by date. People sharing photos of avocados with black rot throughout, despite looking fine on the shelf. One viral video showed an entire produce crate crawling with fruit flies in the middle of the afternoon. And these aren't isolated stories. They form a pattern you can trace across Facebook groups, Reddit threads, and supermarket review forums. Aldi produce, many say, goes off fastest. Aldi berries mold the quickest. Aldi veggies never last until the weekend. It doesn't matter if not every store is like this. The consistency of complaints proves a systemic weakness. The question isn't whether Aldi offers low prices. It does. The question is, what corners must be cut to deliver those prices? Industry experts have answers. Discount chains rely heavily on ultra-fast turnover. When products move quickly, stores hope spoilage goes unnoticed. Reduced staffing models. Fewer hands mean less oversight, fewer checks, and more mistakes. Large-scale suppliers. One contaminated batch affects entire regions before anyone catches it. Minimal backroom infrastructure, less space, fewer fridges, tighter logistics, more risk. For shoppers, that means you need to approach Aldi differently than traditional supermarkets. And here's the part that surprises many people. Aldi knows that their produce spoils quickly. Their model is built around rapid consumption. Many of their fresh items are priced so low because they're intended to move fast. But if your store isn't busy enough, or your delivery arrives late, the produce sits too long. So the next time you step inside, remember the latent mouse infestation. Remember the listeria recall. Remember the spoiled produce videos. Remember the staff warning about unrefrigerated stock. And remember that behind every low price tag is a supply chain stretched to its limit.